Welcome back, nerds. Today's video is going to be an instructional step-by-step video on how to use ANY.RUN or ANY.RUN to analyze malware. This will be targeting IT professionals, but if you're an advanced user, go ahead and follow along. You'll probably find this entertaining.
Nico knows tech, all your tech tips and reviews on deck. Nico knows tech, #1 channel with the news on check.
Now, if this is your first time tuning into the channel, you may not be familiar with ANY.RUN, and what it is if you follow the link in description, it'll take you to this website, and this website gives us access to the ANY.RUN platform, which is an online interactive malware analysis platform. So essentially, we can run a whole bunch of VMs, which I'm going to show you how. We can run Windows, and we have a whole bunch of integrated malware analysis tools that are already built in, do a lot of the work for us, and we can run them on their VMs rather than running it on our own computers or having our own virtualization servers and doing everything manually. So essentially, we're going to be able to do a lot of advanced malware analysis stuff that a lot of you guys might not be exposed to or might not have the assets already on hand. So kind of cool. And we can also get started absolutely free. Now, to get started, you will need to follow the link in description. It'll take you to ANY.RUN, and you'll come probably to this page here. And then you'll click Get Started to create an account. You can even create a free account, or you can look at the paid options right away, which we will look at in a minute. But the main thing that you need to know about creating an account with ANY.RUN, even the free account, is you need a business email. A regular Gmail account will not work, but if you don't have one, you can still contact ANY.RUN through their Discord server, which I'll also link in the description below, and then they can help you out. I think you'll need to submit a ticket. Once you do that, the friendly guys over at ANY.RUN will get you set up. Now, to go ahead and get started, we're going to look over on the left here. This is basically, once you're logged in with your account, this will be the main screen you see. We can submit a file, we can submit URLs, and this is to get started as well. We can also go over here straight to New Analysis. Now, when we hit New Analysis, this is going to be starting up a VM, and we're going to choose what kind of VM we want to do. So if we already have a malware sample or a suspicious file, whatever we want to run on this VM and see what it does. Or it could be an infected file that you have, and we'll also show you how you can find almost unlimited infected samples or malware samples that you can analyze. And so we'll actually do that right now. So if we go over here to Reports, this is all public submissions. This is a whole bunch of files and tests that have been done on ANY.RUN, and we can actually download these if we want, or we can just run them straight from here. Now, what I like to do instead of just scrolling through all of these is I go over here to this icon here, and this is the filters, and then I'll change this verdict drop down to malicious. Then when I click search, all the results will be malicious. So essentially, everything in here was detected to be bad. Most likely it's malware or dangerous files. And then you can see there's tags on the detections here. So you'll see some that may be ransomware. This one's obfuscation. This one has a stealer. And then you can even put in a search here. So I'm going to go ahead and type ransomware. And it's going to pull everything up that has a ransomware tag. So for example, this first result here had WannaCry on it. So this one might be interesting. Now, if I wanted to test this, so let's assume that I don't have a malware sample, I can open up it, and here I can actually replay what this user did. So I can actually restart it and run my own analysis. I can also look at what this person did and there, or I can get a sample, so I can actually download the sample and run it. But the easiest way here is to click Restart right here. So let's assume I want to use this sample and I want to run my own test. I'm going to go ahead and change the start object from, so essentially whatever's right here is going to start automatically when we run the VM, and I'm going to choose the desktop. And over here you'll see operating system. Now on the free edition, you'll have Windows 7 32-bit and Windows 10 64-bit as well as 32-bit. The Windows 7 64-bit and Windows 11 and Ubuntu are on the paid versions, which I'm using right now. Also, on the free version, you'll be limited to about 60 seconds, which if you're just trying to test a file to see if it's bad or not, that may be enough time. But if you're trying to do more in-depth analysis, if you're a professional, you're an IT, or if you're a company, then you'll want more time. On the account that I have 660 seconds. I have the paid personal account here. So I'm going to increase the duration to 660 for our test. And I'm going to change the operating system for this test to Windows 10 64-bit. And then under here, you can leave it as default how you like it. But I'm going to choose residential proxy, and then I'm going to choose a country that's closer to where I am. So I'm going to go to the United States, and that means that I'm going to connect to a more residential proxy, something closer to me rather than running it on the other side of the world. And once I'm happy with all the settings here, I can go ahead and click Run a Public Analysis. And then what this warning is it's letting me know that my plan is not letting this be private. So if I'm doing my own research on something that I found and I don't want my data to be public, maybe I'm going to sell it to a cybersecurity firm, or maybe it's a corporate secrets, then you might want not to agree with this. But I'm just doing tests and I don't care who sees my results of my test. It's public and I want everyone to learn. So I'm going to go ahead and click agree. And what it's doing is it's starting up my Windows 10 64-bit virtual machine on it at ANY.RUN, and then it should be trying to open up the zip file, and it did. And everything that's going on right here, I can see all the HTTP requests. This is like a bunch of network stuff. I can see what Windows is communicating out on. Obviously, there's nothing happening yet. This is just normal Windows traffic. Also the DNS requests. This will become a lot more interesting once we start running the malware. So I'm going to first extract this and extract it to the desktop, and it's going to be password protected. All the infections that you will download from ANY.RUN or most online repositories will be password protected. That's for your safety, so that somebody doesn't accidentally double click on it and run it on your home computer, for example. The password is the word infected, all in lowercase. You see right here, just the word infected, and then click OK. And then it's extracted, and it should be right here. So this folder is called Request for Quotation. Obviously, this is meant to fool somebody into clicking on it because it looks like a business email, and it says Proforma Invoice Bank Swift. Maybe it looks legitimate. And when the victim would double click on this, we see everything that's going on right over here. So the double click. Oh, and we already had an encryption go on. So these files have all been encrypted. And we can actually see the order. There was the attack vector. It did an attrib. And we can actually click on these things and we can see specifically what it did. It's still running. But we can see all the things that are happening over here. Now, on the left side, we go under connections. We can see where this malware may be communicating out. And under rep right here, that's the reputation. So if it's in green check mark, doesn't mean that it's safe, but it probably is. It has not been detected as a malicious domain. Same thing on HTTP requests, DNS requests. Now we get something malicious, this would be like a fire icon. And if this was a Trojan horse that communicates out to a command and control server, or C2, then we would most likely or hopefully be seeing a different icon right here. Okay, we got some action over here. When I click on the actual payload that we double clicked on, that Proforma executable, and we go down here, we can see everything happened. The first thing it does, it modifies files in the Chrome extension folder, and WannaCry has been detected by Yara, ransomware has been detected, and we can see everything it does. So that's the advanced analysis that would be a much more skilled operation than a typical IT professional. Some of you guys that are Sec Plus would have a bit of understanding of this. We're writing a file to Word Startup folder, stealing of personal data, so it's doing some stealing of data. WannaCry Mutex was discovered, so we can see everything about it. We can also see some warnings down here. So it's done a lot of changes. And what it's done over here is it's encrypted our files. And look, now we got this big scary message. This was a very bad ransomware back in the day. It was actually solved, I believe, by the author. But this would be, your files have been encrypted. You must pay this Bitcoin address. And after you pay it, hopefully the person would decrypt your files. I wouldn't recommend doing that. We've analyzed some ransomware control software on this channel, and a lot of them don't even create a recovery ability. They don't create a key. So they will tell the victim that if they pay money to that crypto address, that they would refund them, they would help them decrypt their stuff. But even if you did pay them all the money in the world, they didn't actually make a way to decrypt your files. It wasn't even built into the control software that they were using to make the payload. So I actually don't try to pay the ransom. And so that's how we analyze. This is how we analyze everything here. Now, I like observing over here on the network area. Now, threats over here that are detected under the threats tab down here, these are usually by the IDS or IPS, intrusion detection system, which is typically, it's using ET detection, so it's Suricata. And we look over here, connects to unusual port. So we can see all the attacks that are going on here. And if this was communicating to a C2, there's really cool stuff that you can do over here. I can go over stream data, change this to text. Oftentimes it's not really that encrypted, so I can actually see what's being sent or what's being received. Got some mild encryption here. But if they're sending out like a chat to a C2, you can actually read the messages, and sometimes it's a bit alarming. And then we've been running this for almost 5 minutes. We can go ahead and stop this when I'm done. Once you click stop here, this session's actually stopped. Windows is no longer running. You're still saving everything that happened. You can even replay it, and you can come back to this and take any notes you want to do. We can also restart it and do it again. But instead, we can go back to reports and look for another type of threat, such as Redline. You guys keep on getting infected by Redline. A lot of my viewers are saying they're infected by Redline Stealer. This is a nasty little Trojan that steals logins that are saved to the browser. They essentially steal all your logins. This is how people get their Steam accounts, Facebook hacked, bank accounts, email stolen. It's a nasty piece of work. And this is under Meta Stealer. And this one's called Redline. Very popular. We're going to go ahead and restart this one. When we click restart, same thing. It's already setting this to upload this executable, which we know is Redline. Increase duration to 660. Residential proxy, just for speed. You can also route through Tor. Last I spoke to them, that wasn't a thing yet, but maybe they're adding that soon. And then we're going to run this from the desktop. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this on Windows 11 this time, just so we can show it off. And then once I'm happy with here, run another public analysis. And this one will most likely be very invisible as far as what we see on the screen here, because this is supposed to be invisible to the user. However, with our advanced analysis tools that are integrated into this VM and this interface that we have here, we are going to see what's going on, even though it's already running right now. This random.exe, it's already run. And if you look on the screen here, not a lot's going on. In fact, CPU usage is very low. We're only using about 8% more RAM than we were when we first booted up, so it's not really making a lot of noise that would be noticeable to the user. We are having some jumps in here, but I wouldn't be too disturbed because it's so quick. And we had a lot go on down here. This was the initial payload, but when that was activated, we had a whole lot of activity going outside. We have a whole lot of HTTP requests, and it's a downloader. So we got some downloading of other payloads. It communicates out to the internet, calls friends and other parts of the payload. Going under connections here, we have several malicious domains that this is communicated out to. All these in red, like I said, these are known malicious domains. And all the IP addresses here, you can click copy, you can analyze that. DNS requests. Now under threats, we can see what Suricata has detected. And right here, this malware command and control activity, Suricata has detected that this invisible Trojan is communicating out to a command and control server. And I'm very familiar with this threat, Redline. It exfiltrates all your stuff. In addition to your logins, it goes for text files, and you can actually see that. So when I go over here to malware command and control activity, and we go into the stream data, we can actually look at the messages being sent. So here was the initial communication and log into the C2, and then the C2 response, and that server is running on Ubuntu. And then there's a little bit of chat going back and forth. And let's see what we sent out to the C2. I want to see. There's usually some really invasive information. This is more code. There's usually a get command. It might be on another communication out, but you can actually see this is unencrypted, but because this virus doesn't care about protecting your privacy, this malware rather. Let's see what we got here. Not a whole lot. Now let's go over to Network Trojan over here. We'll probably get to see some of the stream detail of what it's sending and what it's talking to the C2 with. And this is just amazing stuff. This could be done by a very skilled threat researcher, but you'd need a lot of tools, you'd need a lot of infrastructure and assets, experience, and essentially with this, you can do a lot of what a threat researcher or a cybersecurity firm can do because you have access to these tools. So here, it looks like this malware crashed the VM. That's interesting. So essentially that would have crashed the your PC, which is interesting. A lot of viruses do slow down machines, but we have 100% CPU usage. What I'm doing here when I'm interacting with this doesn't affect the VM, so I can't actually crash it. Okay, this is interesting. This almost looks like a fish. So this, I know for a fact, is not YouTube. This is not signing into YouTube. This is fake. And I'm gonna go ahead and view the source because it's hiding the address bar, which is very smart. I wonder if I can right click. Oh, you know what? I've actually never seen this happening. We are using a lot of CPU usage. What could be happening is we're being remoted in. There may be a operator, a malware actor, remote controlling this machine. Because this is not typical behavior. Yeah, someone's remoting. I'm not touching anything. There is actually a hacker remotely in this machine right now. I'm gonna see if I can see where he's connecting from. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. I wonder if the operator of this malware has any idea. Yeah, it's now opened up another login to Gmail. This person really wants this VM's Google information. But this kind of CPU usage is not typical of Redline Stealer. So, oh, we got a botnet going on. We got loader. We got a lot going on. This is a huge package of a lot of a very mean malware designed to wreck someone's life. And there's a lot of activity going on. This is not typical. Normally it's very quiet, but this thing is popping up. It's not letting me click on anything, but I bet you it'll let me type. I'm gonna play with him a little bit. Wow, it's using so much CPU resources. So this thing's actually talking out on Microsoft Edge. Yeah. So much stuff going on here. So this thing's trying to log in. Okay, now it's trying to do password recovery. Yeah, there's somebody remotely controlling this PC. Kind of cool. That explains why it's using 100% CPU usage when really nothing else is going on. I'm definitely going to be saving this analysis because this was an active hacker. Yeah, 100% CPU usage. Okay, and it just keeps on loading. Wow, nasty stuff. There is numerous threats detected here, not just, yeah, we have a whole list here. This is a nasty one. This is gonna go on my list. I may make a video about that threat by itself because I think there's someone out there, maybe lots of people out there that are infected with a very nasty piece of malware. This is even reading the BIOS version. Wouldn't it be cool if this was like a UEFI threat? Yeah, so this is the kind of fun stuff you can just come across on ANY.RUN because I didn't have to find this. I didn't have to get infected with it, or someone didn't have to tell me. I'm literally going through reports and exploring what is possible. Now, that's how to run a basic analysis. But in addition, we also can go back to, these are all the VMs that I've run lately. I can go back through all of them and revisit them. In addition, there's also threat intelligence. This is a separate product within ANY.RUN, but this would be important if you're trying to look for specific types of threats and where they're at around the world. There's a whole video I can do on threat intelligence, but this is some advanced level stuff. We can go through all the different types of threats. We can kind of know what's out there, because if your company has a specific type of vulnerability, it would probably behoove you to know that there's something attacking that vulnerability so that you can tie that down. We can go back to the sandbox here. And the sandbox is mostly what we're talking about here. And when we're talking about the pricing, by the way, I don't get a commission off this, so I'm just like talking about it and why I think it might be a value or why it might not be a value. The free version is what everyone's going to start with here, and this is the one that I was telling you about. This one's the 60-second one, so essentially you got a minute to let it run, and then it's going to stop it. You still have access to it, but it's not a whole lot of time to mess with it while it's running. So in case of that last malware, at the 5-minute mark, we had an outside connection remotely controlling the PC, whether it's a human being or the C2 server, the command and control server, which is most likely what was controlling it. It's remote controlling our PC and making things happen, which kind of made it exciting. That would have taken more than 60 seconds. Now, Hunter for individuals is $2.99 a month, and that's not cheap. So why would the average consumer that just wants to try this out justify $300 a month? Well, I actually don't think you could justify that. This is targeting cybersecurity professionals like individuals or independent contractors, pen testers, people whose business it is to do malware analysis. And if you're an independent cybersecurity professional, that's not a whole lot. You could find business internet for around that price. So if it's part of your business, that makes sense. This is for an individual. The enterprise, you contact them, and then based upon your needs, they give you a quote. And that's for corporations, teams, cybersecurity firms. So that's why I don't sell this. I don't say, hey, you have to get this, because maybe the average user is not a cybersecurity professional that does this for their livelihood. But if it's for your business and you're an independent, $2.99 a month, and you get all these features. And that's what I'm using today is Hunter. And for me, it's useful. And congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you made it this far, then you now have everything you need to get started analyzing malware on ANY.RUN. Like I said before, you can find the links in the description. And I hope you liked this video. If you like it, please smash that like button and consider subscribing. And I shall see you next time.